Hey guys, it's Coach Allen. One thing that unites every single basketball player on the planet is they all want to jump higher. And even though I'm 41 years old and I'm long retired, even I want to be able to jump higher. And here's the thing, almost everyone tends to think that the key to jumping higher is in the calves. And to be honest, it's not. The calves are a part, but just a part of the entire puzzle. However, when I was younger and I was trying to jump higher and I was going through different training programs, I knew how important the calves were to what I was trying to do. So I do want to give you guys some guidance on what you need to do to effectively train your calves, but I want to make sure that you understand that you'll get so much more bang for your buck by training your legs, your hips, and your core. That's where the real heart of your engine is, and that focusing on the little muscle groups of the calves, it's important, but it's not the be-all, end-all. So when we're talking about the calves, there's a few things that we want to address. One is we want to do some strength movements for the calves. And in order to do that, we need any type of elevated surface. So I'm simply going to use this 35-pound weight right now. And I can do these 2 feet at a time. And you want to push through your big toes. So it's so important that you let your heels sink down and get a good stretch. And then you drive up on your big toes as high as you can. And you want to get a good pause for the cause at the top. So we can go here, and obviously this is 2 feet at a time. If you want to make it more challenging, then you simply go one leg at a time. Now my one leg is lifting my entire body weight. Same premise, you want your heel to sink down as low as you can, but you also want to drive your big toe as high as you can. From a sets and reps standpoint, because it's body weight, you can do as many reps as you can as long as you're having perfect form, which means good depth on the stretch and as high up and elongate as high as possible. So don't worry about bouncing. I want you guys to have perfect reps. Lots of different groups will encourage you to do a variety of different foot positions. So from here, we could also go toes in for some reps. We can go toes out for some reps. So you can always change your foot position. And the only rule, anytime you're going to change foot position, is making sure that it's pain-free. If you were to put your feet or legs in any type of position, if there was any acute pain whatsoever in your ankles, in your feet, in your knees, in your hips, then you stop immediately. But usually, going through something pain-free means that you'll be more than fine. So from a strength standpoint, this was just a body weight calf raise. I could obviously hold weights, so I could do a one leg and I could hold a dumbbell on this side to add extra resistance, or many gyms actually have different calf raise machines. In fact, there's 2 different distinct muscles in the calves, and they work differently if you're standing or if you're in a seated position. So if you do have access to a seated calf machine, I recommend using that just as much as using a standing calf machine. Now, another thing to think about is training our calves in an explosive manner. So from here, we can do some different plyometric drills, but I'm going to do them and try not to use my legs and core. So I'm simply gonna pop and do a set of pops, and I'm just using my ankles and just using my calves. They're pogo jumps, but we're trying to eliminate any use of the thighs, hips, and core so that we're just using the calves and to be as springy as possible. We can obviously do that on one leg. We can do it with both, and you'll feel fatigue set in really quick. I will say that even though we're talking about training the calves for jumping, it's also really important that you work the shin muscles, the tibialis, the muscles on the front. Now this is going to help give you more balance and symmetry between the front and back side of your body and keep your ankles strong. So for this, anytime you pull your toes to your nose, you're going to be working your shin muscles. And anytime you work your calves, I recommend you also work your shins to help create a balance. Shin splints bother a lot of players, and they can be really traumatic and really derail you from your training. One of the best ways to help alleviate shin splints is by training the shins and the tibialis and not letting the calves get too strong in proportion to the front side. So we're gonna drive up, toes up, big drive, and stick. Drive and stick. And it'll take as little as 10 to 15 reps, and you'll start to feel a real intense burn. And now we're doing everything we can to work the lower leg. So we're working the tibialis and the shin muscles, and we just talked about how to address the calves. But again, I cannot stress enough that the muscles from the knee down, while they're important, they're not near as important as the muscles from the knee up when it comes to being as explosive as possible.